Hey everyone, Mike Burke here with InsideRealEstatePhotography.com, and what I have here is a base model M1 MacBook Air, and we're going to discuss whether or not this computer is good enough for real estate photo and video editing. So as you may or may not know, Apple last year dropped Intel-based chips for their computers and implemented their own M1 silicone chip. The performance of this new chip is impressive and has Apple users very excited. So far, the only Apple laptops that have this new M1 silicone chip are the 13-inch MacBook Pro model and also this 13-inch MacBook Air. Rumor has it though that we can expect an announcement from Apple very soon about a new 16-inch and 14-inch MacBook Pro model that will contain an even newer and faster version of this chip, rumored to be called the M1X. Alright, quick little interruption here. After I finished shooting this video, I got an email announcement from Apple that they're holding an event on Monday, October 18th. This is undoubtedly going to be the announcement of the new MacBook Pros, so that's awesome news. So they are coming very soon. So why am I making this video? If you're just getting into real estate photography and you're on a tight budget, maybe you're looking for an inexpensive option for a computer that will perform the tasks well that we need it to perform as real estate photographers. Or maybe you're an established real estate photographer that's mainly a desktop user and you're looking for a good portable option to take on the road with you. In either one of those scenarios, this computer may be a great option for you. So why did I buy this computer? My main computer for the last 5 years has been a 16-inch 2016 MacBook Pro, which has been a good computer except I had some issues with the screen. I had the screen replaced once and then it failed again on me a second time. For a few months I was forced to use it connected to an external monitor, but I finally just couldn't take it anymore. I've been patiently holding out for the announcement of the new 16-inch MacBook Pro, which I still plan on buying, but I needed something to hold me over until that comes. I will get into more about that later in this video. Okay, so let's talk about how this computer performs, and I will also share my personal thoughts on it as well along the way. So this is the base model M1 MacBook Air, except the hard drive was upgraded to 512 gigabytes from the 256 gigabytes. I would definitely recommend getting the 512 gigabyte hard drive at minimum, if not larger, or at least a fast external SSD hard drive that you can edit off of in the event you need some extra space. You can never have enough hard drive space, especially if you're dealing with photo and video files. I will link to all my recommendations in the description below. I've been using this computer for a few weeks now, editing photos and videos, so I'm very familiar with its performance at this point. Off the bat, this base model M1 MacBook Air outperforms my 2016 16-inch MacBook Pro. Yes, my MacBook Pro is 5 years old, however, this is still impressive to me being that the specs on that computer were pretty much maxed out and it cost me over $3,000, which is pretty much 3 times the cost of this computer. Just based on that alone, I think it makes this MacBook Air a tremendous value based on how well it performs and that it's the most inexpensive entry-level laptop that Apple makes. As I mentioned earlier, this base model MacBook Air is equipped with the new Apple M1 chip. Again, this revolutionary chip is what makes all the magic happen with this computer. Apple claims that the implementation of this chip has resulted in CPU speeds of being up to 3.5 times faster and GPU speeds being up to 5 times faster. If that's just a bunch of gibberish to you, it simply means a pretty major performance boost over its predecessor. Previous MacBook Air models were not really up to the task of doing the kind of work that we do. You may have been able to scrape by with one, but it was difficult and frustrating and not really meant to perform the task that we needed to do. The MacBook Pro line really is the line that was designed for people like us doing professional photo and video work. MacBook Airs were never really marketed toward people like us doing this kind of work. However, they do seem to be up to the task now, which is fantastic. One of the great things about this chip, other than the performance boost, is its efficiency. Since it was designed by Apple themselves to run on their own machines instead of adopting Intel-based chips, it uses its power extremely effectively. The battery life is insane and like nothing I've ever seen on any of my previous Macs I've owned over the past 20 years. Also, this chip has made possible a silent, fanless design. This computer makes absolutely no noise even when doing the most processor-intensive tasks. On any of my previous Macs, when I was editing, the fan would kick on, it would sound like my drone firing up and about to take off. Okay, now let's discuss a few more features of this M1 MacBook Air that I think are worth mentioning. The Retina display is fantastic, as it has been on these Apple laptops for quite some time. It's highly detailed, rich color, and just fantastic for intricate photo editing and the kind of tasks that we do on a daily basis. As I said previously, my last computer was a 16-inch and this is a 13-inch, and I definitely missed that extra screen real estate. 3 inches might not sound like a lot, but it's a considerable difference that I notice constantly. But if you're not coming from a bigger screen like I am, then it probably won't be an issue for you. That is definitely one of the reasons why I'll still be buying the 16-inch MacBook Pro whenever it comes out. This 13-inch MacBook Air sports 2 USB Type-C ports, which are used for charging and connecting anything you might want to connect, such as an SD card reader or an external hard drive. My 16-inch MacBook Pro had 4 of these ports. Only having two can be pretty limiting, especially if you're working with your computer plugged in, because that will only leave you with one open port to connect anything you might want to connect. This is definitely annoying, but it's workable. After all, this is the cheapest entry-level MacBook there is, so you're not going to be getting everything. Again, this is another reason why I'm going to be buying the 16-inch MacBook Pro when it comes out. It's rumored to have more traditional connectivity like the MacBook Pros had back in like 2015, with a dedicated MagSafe charger, SD card slot, and also the USB Type-C ports, so a lot more convenient connectivity there. The other thing I'll mention quickly is the keyboard. It's just fantastic and responsive and a pleasure to use. My 2016 MacBook Pro was plagued with the butterfly keyboard, which had a lot of issues like keys getting stuck. I'm so happy Apple has realized their error with those and has given us a much better keyboard experience. All right, now let's take this puppy for a spin, and I'll try to quickly demonstrate some tasks that we perform as real estate photographers that will hopefully give you an idea of how well this computer performs. All right guys, so this is just gonna be a very quick little demonstration, very unscientific. I simply just wanna show you how things run on this computer. So I'm just gonna first open Lightroom really quick. You see, boom, it launches applications really quickly. So that's fantastic. All right, so we can import some images, see how fast that goes. I have a folder on my desktop somewhere. This house I shot recently. All right, so those images are uploaded very quickly. Just to show you kind of, these are all raw images, by the way. You know, it's very responsive to everything. It's not slow. I mean, with photo editing on this, I've had no problems. Photo editing isn't, you know, it's intensive, but not super intensive. But you know, it just, everything responds perfectly fine. No issues whatsoever with any tools in Lightroom. Really, no problems. We could send some photos to Photoshop and see how quick that is. So I'll take, you know, these 5 brackets here, and I'll just control click, edit in, open as layers in Photoshop. See how long that takes to load. Boom, Photoshop loads almost instantly. This is much faster than my MacBook Pro was, for sure. It would take, you know, a good couple minutes for Photoshop to load and then load images. So all 5 images I've loaded as layers here. So again, just super fast. And you know, again, same thing with, you know, Photoshop. I mean, just everything, you know, everything runs smoothly here, no problems whatsoever. Common tasks that you would do here, you know, any sort of brushing or anything, it just, everything is very responsive. Photo editing, no problem on this machine at all. I didn't have any sluggish issues at all with anything. Everything's very snappy, so no complaints with that. Now for video clips, I'll just show you that a little bit. All right, so here in Premiere, I have 3 different kinds of video clips. I'll just show you how well Premiere handles these. But this is just an HD 120 frames per second clip, 8-bit. And I edited this whole house like this the other day. I shot it in HD just to see how it would handle it. And no problems with HD 120 frames per second or any HD footage, you know, no sluggish problems at all. This is 4K 24 frames per second, 10-bit footage for my A7S III. So this is from this actual video that I've been editing. So I shoot that in 4K 24. So, you know, it plays it fine. Again, this isn't full resolution here too. So it's playing it. So, you know, pretty impressive. My MacBook Pro couldn't even play this. I always had to make proxies. So, you know, this is better performance in this department. It's not super responsive, as you see. Like when I stop, it takes a second to actually stop the clip and there's a delay. So, and then after editing these clips for a few minutes, it starts to get sluggish and slow down. So it doesn't perfectly handle these 4K clips, but it can do it. But I still have been making proxies just to make it easier on me. And here finally we have 4K 120 frames per second clip, 10-bit. This is just really high bit rate footage for my A7S III. Not a lot of cameras out there right now can shoot 4K 120. So like I said, most people out there aren't gonna be dealing with this kind of footage. Most people will probably be dealing with HD, so no problems on this computer, but I just wanted to show you this. And I just hit play. It took a couple seconds to start playing, but it is playing it. This is really impressive. My MacBook Pro would not even play 2 frames of this. Like it would just dead stop when I try to play it. And this is in full resolution, by the way. So, you know, again, impressive that it plays this footage. It doesn't handle it as well as the 4K 24 footage. Look, like when I scrub, it takes a second to catch up. It's, you know, very kind of sluggish and behind. It's not perfect. I wouldn't suggest even trying to edit it. It'd be so frustrating. If I would, you know, again, make proxies for these still to be able to make editing smooth and, you know, not pulling my hair out the whole time. All right, so that's it for this quick demonstration. I just wanted to show you how the computer handles these sort of tasks. So I hope that gives you some general idea of how it handles it. So as you probably figured out by now, I think the M1 MacBook Air is a capable computer. Its performance is impressive not only for its price point, but in general. My biggest complaints, as I mentioned, are the lack of ports, small screen, and I wish it would handle 4K footage better in Adobe Premiere Pro, but that's not a deal breaker. I definitely think this is a very viable option for doing the photo and video editing work that we do as real estate photographers, and if you're just starting out and are on a budget or looking for a portable second computer, then I think the M1 MacBook Air may be the way to go. I could definitely keep this computer and be fine, but I just want the extra features, bigger screen, and more processing power being offered by the 16-inch MacBook Pro that should be coming very soon. I will most likely be doing a video on that too once I get it. The base model MacBook Air starts at $999, but with the 512GB hard drive upgrade like I have on this computer, you'll be looking at $1249. Again, you may want to even go bigger on your hard drive than that if this is your main computer, or at least get a fast external SSD drive for extra space. If you're interested in purchasing one of these computers, I put the link down in the description below. I also put a link down there to an external SSD that I recommend. If you use my links, it doesn't cost you any extra, but I get a small commission, which helps support this channel and the development of future content, so I definitely appreciate it. All right guys, that's it for this video. I hope you found it helpful. If you did, please hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't done so already. I really appreciate your support. Thanks so much for watching this video, and I'll see you again on the next one.